Hi there, Dr. Jill here. You got your prescription, you got your syringes, and you're ready to give your injection, but you don't understand all the numbers and you're a little nervous. Maybe it's your first time to get a medication like this, and you see two different numbers. You see 50 units or a unit number, and then also in parentheses, a milligram number. So I'll just use, for example, if someone was using tirzepatide, a GLP-1 receptor agonist, for the first time, they would most likely start at 2.5 milligrams. And they would see that on their label, but they would see inject 50 units, and that's for the pharmacy we're using right now. All pharmacies can make a strength whatever they want it to be, so not to confuse the situation, but for my example today, the prescription label may say inject 50 units, and then in parentheses say 2.5 milligrams sub-Q every 7 days or weekly, something like that. So what you need to know is the units. If it says 50 units, then we're going to inject 50 units. It's letting you know the milligram that's associated with that many units. And based on the strength that they compounded it to, they can make it any milligrams they want. They could make it 5 milligrams per 50 units. They could make it 10 milligrams per 50 units. That's on them. That's at the pharmacy. You don't have to worry about that. So all you have to worry about is the number of units that it tells you to inject. And when we want to look at that, we're going to look at our syringes. And these syringes all look very similar. One is bigger than the other. I'm not trying to like be a magician here, but they're all very similar, but they're different sizes. So when we're reading a syringe, we're going to look at the barrel. This is the barrel here. And so we can see here, this is a 30 unit syringe. We would not use this syringe to inject 50 units. So this is not the size of syringe that would come with a 50 unit medication. Someone that needs 10 or 20 units, maybe even up to 30 units might use this. But in general, we're not getting 50 units out of a 30 unit syringe. So then I also have this 50 unit syringe. You can see there's the 50 units all the way down. So it's almost the entire barrel. However, if I had a 100 unit syringe, we see 100 units is down here and 50 units is way up here. So if we were to inject 50 units using this syringe, we would only pull our plunger down to 50 units. But if we were injecting 50 units with this syringe, we would pull our plunger all the way down to 50 units. So it depends on what size syringe, and there's not a wrong answer to which syringe you got, but when it says 50 units, you just have to find the 50 on your barrel, and that's how much you'll pull up. Again, the 2.5 milligrams or the 5 milligrams or whatever amount of milligrams is on the vial doesn't matter. They're telling you how they've compounded it. Now, if you have multiple vials and they're different strengths, you want to make sure you're using the strength that says this is month 1, and it does say, which not to confuse the situation, but this is my month 2, and so my month 2 says 5 milligrams right there. So hard. Okay, there's my 5 milligrams. So this is my 5 milligram per 50 units. Well, here's next month's. This is my Oh no, this is 2 months from now. Sorry. This is my 10 milligrams. So the pharmacies figured this part out. They know how much is per 50 units in this example. It could be any number of units, whatever is on your prescription label. But if it says to use 50 units, then like I said, you're just going to find the 50 unit on your barrel, and that's how much you will draw up. You do not have to worry about the 2.5 milligrams at all. That's just letting you know what dose you're on. So when you put it into the vial, if you watch the injection tutorial, it'll show you how, I demonstrate how to pull the medication up into the vial and how to do the injection. But that's where you're going to pull it, is where the units are. So it seems like a lot of numbers and it seems kind of different, But in the end, the pharmacy's telling you how many units, and that's going to be all you need to know. Know your units. They've already done the thought behind it as far as associating that number of units to the correct number of milligrams. And I don't even want to try to explain that because then that can get a little bit more confusing. But know your number of units and find your number of units on your syringe, on the barrel, and wherever that is where you're going to pull the top part of this black plunger down to. So if I wanted 50 units, the top part of my plunger is going to be right there, because then that is my 50 units. So I hope you found this helpful when you're looking at strengths, dosing amounts, and syringes. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.